Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. Rain fell in fine drops on the streets of Chicago, reflecting the lights of signs and cars like thousands of tiny stars scattered across the ground. In his black sedan, Ethan Walker, a young millionaire accustomed to quick decisions and well-planned lives, looked at his watch for the 5th time in 5 minutes. He was late. A crucial meeting awaited him, one that could decide the future of his budding empire. Yet, amidst this flood of thoughts and stress, something caught his eye. On the sidewalk, under the shadow of a bridge, a frail figure stood there, a baby clutched to her, her worn clothes soaked by the rain. The woman looked up at him. In her tired but determined eyes, there was a silent appeal, an unexpected strength that contrasted with her apparent fragility. Ethan braked abruptly. The business world, the meetings, the contracts, all of it vanished in an instant. What he saw wasn't a routine city scene. It was a suspended moment, a choice to be made, an encounter that would change everything. At that precise moment, Ethan didn't know that his life, orderly, fast-paced, and calculated, had just intersected with that of a young woman and her baby, and that nothing would ever be the same again. Ethan Walker was speeding in his black sedan. His schedule was full of meetings, calls, and decisions that could make or lose millions in an instant. Today, however, he was late for a crucial meeting with international investors. Text messages from his assistant buzzed incessantly through the car. "You're going to miss the deal of the century." Suddenly, movement caught his attention. Under a damp bridge, a young woman held a baby wrapped in a dirty blanket. She looked exhausted, but there was something in her eyes that stopped Ethan in his tracks, a quiet strength, a silent dignity despite the misery. Ethan slammed on the brakes, his tires squealing on the wet asphalt. He got out of his car and slowly approached. "Excuse me. Can I help you?" he asked, feeling his own voice betray an unusual concern. The young woman looked at him suspiciously, as if his every move was suspect. "Why do you care?" she said coldly. "You're not like me, you probably have better things to do." Ethan gave a small smile. "Maybe. But I can see that you and this baby, you need help now. I can't just walk by." The baby gave a small gurgle, and something about the sound melted the woman's resistance. She hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, if you insist," she said finally, her voice softer. "But know that I'm not asking for anything." Ethan nodded and offered to lead her to a nearby shelter, dry and safe. As they walked in the rain, a respectful silence fell between them. Yet this silence was heavy with promise and mystery. What Ethan didn't know was that this chance encounter would change not just his day, but his entire life. The world he knew, one of contracts and profits, was about to be confronted with the harsh realities of life, resilience, and humanity. The shelter was modest but warm, with cream-colored walls and a waxed floor that reflected the lamplight. Ethan held the door for the young woman, who advanced cautiously, her baby nestled against her. "You can stay here for a while," Ethan said, pointing to a small couch near the fireplace. "There's hot tea and blankets." The young woman sat down, clutching her baby to her. Her gaze was wary but curious. "Thank you. My name is Mia," she said finally, breaking the silence. "And this is Benjamin." Ethan nodded, kneeling slightly to be eye level with them. "Nice to meet you, Mia." "Ethan Walker." I don't have a specific plan to help, but I want to do something." Mia stared at him, torn between suspicion and relief. "You don't need to complicate things for me," she said. "We've survived this far." Ethan shook his head. "No. I want to do more than survive. I can help you find food, clothing, maybe even a safe place to settle temporarily. I can't promise you the moon, but, at least some stability." The baby cooed again, as if to emphasize her words. Mia smiled slightly, a shy but genuine smile. I've never met anyone who cares so much about us," she said, her voice trembling. "But I don't want a handout. I just want a chance. Ethan felt a knot in his chest. He understood that this meeting was no mere coincidence. He wanted to protect these two lives, not out of charity, but because he felt that fate had brought them together for a reason. Then let's think of this as a new beginning, he said softly. For you, and for Benjamin. That evening, as the rain continued to fall outside, Ethan stayed at the shelter for a while, talking with Mia, listening to her story, discovering the quiet courage that had kept her going through it all. He knew this was only the beginning of a difficult road, but something told him that this road would change his life forever. The next morning, Ethan got up early, well before sunrise, and went to the shelter. He had decided not to let Mia and Benjamin return to the streets after that first night. Seeing her in that place, even a safe one, seemed insufficient. Mia, he said as he entered, I want you to come with me today. Not to stay on the streets, but to see how I can help you. Mia raised an eyebrow, suspicious. With you? Are you talking about your world? It's different. I don't know if I'm ready. Ethan smiled softly. Exactly. I think you deserve to see what you can have. Not just survive, but live. After a short drive, they arrived in the upscale Chicago neighborhood where Ethan lived. Its elegant buildings, luxury cars, and high-end boutiques seemed otherworldly. Mia hugged Benjamin, both intimidated and fascinated. It's huge, she said, her voice almost a whisper. I've never seen anything like it. This is my world, Ethan explained. But I don't want that to scare you. I want you to know that you have a place here, if you want it. Ethan led Mia into his spacious apartment, a light-filled loft overlooking Lake Michigan. He showed her around the rooms with a mixture of pride and humility. You can stay here, at least until you recover, he said. And I'll make sure Benjamin has everything he needs. Mia looked at him with tears in her eyes. I don't know how to thank you. But I don't want you to think I'm just here to take advantage of your money. It's not about the money, Mia. It's about giving yourself a chance. Nothing more, nothing less, he said, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. For the first time in a long time, Mia felt she could breathe. She knew the road would be long, and that she would have to face her fears and doubts, but for the first time, she felt hope. And Ethan, for his part, realized that this luxurious world he lived in had never been so real as now, faced with the quiet strength of a mother and her child. That day, the lives of Ethan, Mia, and Benjamin began to intertwine, in a mix of challenges, trust, and unexpected connections. In the days that followed, Ethan struggled to strike a delicate balance between his work life and his commitment to Mia and Benjamin. Each morning, he left for the office for his meetings, leaving Mia to settle Benjamin into his new, safe environment, complete with clean clothes, hot meals, and a small space to play. Yet, not everything was simple. The first obstacle came during a business lunch with his most influential investors. Ethan had invited Mia to dinner after his meeting, hoping to show her a little of the world he wanted to share with her. Ethan, who is this? One of the investors asked, frowning. Ethan felt a slight unease in the air. Mia is someone I met recently. I'm helping her and her son settle in. I believe in social responsibility, he replied calmly. You're taking a huge risk, another investor said. It could damage your image, your company. Ethan placed his hand on the table, his gaze serious. I understand your concerns, but my decision is made. I will not compromise my life for profit alone. Later, back at the apartment, Mia greeted him with a smile, but she could feel the stress and doubts inside him. They think I shouldn't be here, and that Benjamin shouldn't, she said hesitantly. Mia, we're not the ones who need to change for them, Ethan replied. They're the ones who need to understand. You and Benjamin deserve a chance, and I'll give it to you, no matter what. That evening, as they dined together, Mia confided in Ethan about her past. She told him about the loss of her parents, the poverty that forced her to survive on the streets, and her constant fear for Benjamin. Ethan listened silently, understanding that the real battle wouldn't be against investors or society, but against the invisible wounds of the past. "You are incredibly strong," he said softly. "And I know you will overcome this. I will be there to help you." For the first time in a long time, Mia felt she could believe in a better future. But on the horizon, even greater challenges loomed: the curiosity and judgment of the outside world, social and professional pressure, and the fear that all this fragile balance would collapse. That night, Ethan realized that protecting Mia and Benjamin would mean more than just providing them with shelter and clothing. He would have to defend them against the world, and especially against the deeply ingrained prejudices of the society he lived in. A few days later, Ethan invited Mia and Benjamin to a charity gala he was attending. He wanted them to begin getting used to his world and the social interactions that came with it. Mia, though apprehensive, accepted, knowing that she had to face her fears to move forward. From the moment they arrived, the contrast between her past life and this luxurious world became starkly apparent. The guests, dressed in long gowns and impeccable suits, whispered among themselves, their gazes scrutinizing Mia and her baby. "Ethan. I think some of you are looking at me strangely," she murmured, hugging Benjamin. "Ignore them," he said softly. "You're here because you deserve to be, not for their approval." However, as they approached the buffet, a wealthy and arrogant woman, holding a glass of champagne, called out to them. "And you are?" she asked with a condescending smile. Mia felt anger and embarrassment rising. "My name is Mia," she replied with dignity, hugging Benjamin. "And this is my son, Benjamin." The woman burst out laughing, attracting the gaze of the guests around her. "Oh. I see, you look, well, different. It's surprising to see you here." Ethan interjected, his face serious and authoritative. "Mia is here because she has as much right as anyone to attend this event. I would ask that you keep your remarks to yourself." Tensions rose, but Mia, sensing Ethan's support, raised her head and smiled confidently, silently defying judgment. The rest of the evening passed in this mixture of fascination and whispers, but Ethan knew that this experience, though painful for Mia, would strengthen their bond and her self-confidence. On the way back, Mia confided. "I never thought I could stand in a place like this, and yet I did." Ethan smiled. "And you look beautiful like that. We're going to face many moments like this, but you're not alone." That night was a turning point for Mia. She realized her life could change, that the world she feared could open up to her, and that with Ethan by her side, she could face prejudice, arrogance, and social obstacles with courage and dignity. In the following weeks, Ethan had to juggle his professional obligations with his commitment to Mia and Benjamin. His investors, still wary after the gala incident, began to exert increased pressure. Some threatened to withdraw their support if Ethan continued to prioritize a stranger and her baby over his business. "Ethan, you have to understand," one of the investors told him during a tense meeting. "This is a risky decision, your image, your capital, everything is at stake." Ethan replied calmly. "I understand your concerns, but Mia and Benjamin are not a project or a financial risk. They are human beings, and I will do whatever is necessary to protect and support them." Meanwhile, Mia began to adjust to this new world, discovering aspects she never imagined: access to a quality education for Benjamin, medical care, and the possibility of escaping the shadow of poverty. Yet she remained cautious, aware of the stares, the whispers, and the latent judgment that weighed on her at every turn. One morning, while Ethan was working from his office, Mia made an important decision. "Ethan, I want to contribute too. I want to show that I can do something, instead of just being someone who receives." Ethan, surprised but admiring, replied. "Of course. What do you have in mind?" "I want to learn, help with your charitable initiatives, participate in projects for children and families like us. I want to make a difference." Ethan smiled, feeling his pride grow. "That's exactly what I wanted to hear. You're stronger than you think, Mia." Mia's newfound determination began to change the dynamic between them. Ethan realized that their relationship wasn't just based on protection and financial support, but on mutual respect, admiration, and a willingness to rise together, despite the odds. However, outside pressures continued. Investors continued to criticize his choices, some employees were skeptical, and Ethan's social world remained full of scrutiny. The road would be long, but Ethan and Mia were now bound by an invisible force, the belief that together, they could face the world and emerge stronger. A few weeks later, Ethan invited Mia and Benjamin to a public event his company was hosting, an award ceremony for the charitable projects he supported. Mia, still hesitant to appear in public, felt her heart race as they arrived in front of the crowd of reporters and photographers. "Take a deep breath, Mia," Ethan whispered, holding her hand. "You're here to show who you are, not to please everyone." The ceremony began, and Ethan was called up to the stage to present a project aimed at helping families in need. To his surprise, he invited Mia to join him. "Mia has an inspiring story," he told the crowd. "She represents all the courageous and resilient mothers who fight every day for their families." The murmur of the guests rose. Some seemed admiring, others skeptical. But Mia, feeling Ethan's support and Benjamin's innocent eyes, raised her head and spoke confidently. "Thank you," she said. "I'm here to show that no difficult situation defines a person. Every mother, every child deserves a chance, and we must support each other." A respectful silence followed her words, before thunderous applause erupted in the room. Journalists snapped photos, and cameras captured every gesture. For the first time, Mia felt powerful, not because of money or luxury, but because of her voice and dignity. However, not all reactions were positive. One influential businesswoman, jealous and condescending, whispered to those around her. "Who is this woman to stand here as if she belongs to this world?" Ethan, hearing the whispers, tightened his hand on Mia's. "Don't let their jealousy get to you. You're here because you deserve to be." That evening, when she returned to the apartment, Mia confided. "I never thought I would be able to speak in front of so many people, and yet, I did." "And you've inspired hundreds of people," Ethan said, smiling. "See? This world can be scary, but it can also give you the chance to shine." For Mia, this experience was a turning point. She understood that recognition and respect depended not on origin or status, but on inner strength, courage, and truth. And Ethan realized that his role was not limited to providing material protection, he had to support Mia as she found her own voice and power in this complex world. Despite Mia's recent successes, unseen tensions began to surface. In Ethan's luxurious world, jealousy and prejudice persisted. Some influential colleagues and acquaintances whispered behind their backs, doubting the legitimacy of her position with Ethan. "You know," said an employee during a meeting, "I don't understand why Mia is here. This isn't her world, and it could create complications." Ethan just stared at them, his face impassive but determined. "Mia is here because she is brave, capable, and human. If you have a problem with that, you need to reevaluate your own values," he said firmly. However, Mia felt the weight of the judgments. Despite her dignity, the whispers and condescending stares revived her old insecurities. One evening, while walking Benjamin in the park, she confided her doubts to Ethan. "I feel like I shouldn't be here. Like I don't belong in your world." Ethan knelt down to be at eye level with her. "Mia, listen to me. It's not your world or mine that matters. What matters is what you bring to the table and the strength you have. You've faced things many wouldn't even dare imagine, and you're standing, with Benjamin by your side. You are stronger than any judgment." Mia took a deep breath, sensing the truth in his words. She knew the road would be long, and that every victory would bring new challenges. But she understood that her worth depended not on the whispers of others, but on her own confidence and courage. That night, Ethan and Mia talked at length about their fears and hopes. Benjamin slept peacefully in his crib, a silent symbol of the future they were building together. "It doesn't matter what the world thinks," Ethan said. "We have a family now. We're going to face this together." And Mia, for the first time in a long time, felt that she was no longer alone. Despite the shadows of the past and the criticisms of the present, she could move forward with confidence, supported by love, protection, and faith in herself. A few months later, just as Mia and Ethan were beginning to find a balance, a new threat emerged. A local tabloid published an article implying that Mia was an opportunist profiting from Ethan's fortune. The front page featured a photo of her with Benjamin, with a provocative headline, "The homeless woman who invites herself into the world of millionaires." Mia, reading the article, felt a mixture of anger and despair. She had worked hard to stand up for herself, to prove her worth through courage and dignity, and now everything was being called into question. "It's not true," she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "I never asked for anything, ever." Ethan walked into the room and saw the article. Without hesitation, he walked over to her and placed a firm hand on her shoulder. "Mia, listen to me. These words have no power over you unless you let them. You know who you are, and so do I. We know the truth. And I'm going to make sure the world knows, too." He contacted his press contacts and lawyers to prepare a public statement. The next day, at a press conference, Ethan spoke. "Mia is a courageous woman, a devoted mother. She's not here by chance or to take advantage of anyone. She's here because she deserves every opportunity she gets, just like anyone else. Those who try to judge her without knowing her story are wrong." The statement made the rounds in the media. Public opinion quickly shifted from suspicion to admiration for Mia's courage and dignity. She felt relieved, but also strengthened by the experience. "You see," Ethan said, hugging her, "challenges are just tests. And you overcame them with grace." Mia smiled, a mixture of relief and pride in her eyes. "With you by my side, I feel invincible." This unexpected scandal became a turning point for them. Not only had Mia proven her worth to the world, but their bond, forged in trust, respect, and love, grew stronger in the face of adversity. They understood that, no matter what the world thought, their strength came from their unity and the truth they shared. As the months passed, Ethan, Mia, and Benjamin's lives began to find a harmonious balance. The trials, judgments, and scandals of the past had forged their bond and strengthened their trust in one another. Mia had flourished in this new world, not by abandoning her values or her past, but by using them as a force to move forward. One bright morning, Ethan gently woke Mia. "Today I have a surprise," he said with a mischievous smile. They went together to the park where they had often walked Benjamin. Ethan led her to a small house he had built for them, simple but welcoming, surrounded by a garden where Benjamin could run freely. "It's for us," he said. "Not a palace, but a home. We've been through so much, it's time to start a real chapter for the three of us." Mia, moved to tears, hugged Ethan. "It's more than I ever dared to dream. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you for everything." Benjamin chirped, raising his arms towards them, a living symbol of the love and resilience that united them. In the following days, Mia began working on charity projects with Ethan, using her experience and sensitivity to help other families in need. Their collaboration strengthened their relationship, blending love, respect, and mutual admiration. One evening, as they watched the sunset together from the garden, Ethan took Mia's hand. "We've overcome so many obstacles, Mia. But each challenge has brought us closer. I can't imagine my life without you and Benjamin anymore." Mia smiled, her heart filled with gratitude and love. "And neither do I. We found our place, not by running away from the past, but by embracing our strength and our truth." As the sun sank below the horizon, illuminating their home with a golden glow, they realized their story was only just beginning. Challenges would still come, of course, but together, they were invincible. In this new chapter, Mia, Ethan, and Benjamin were no longer just a mother, a millionaire, or a baby. They were a family, forged by courage, love, and resilience, ready to face the future together.